Hello, happy Saturday, everyone. Erica Rock here, Spiritual Catalyst, wanting to talk about what are the consequences for not speaking our truth. Because this is something that I experienced recently. And what I find so interesting is my perception of myself is that most of the time I speak my truth. I speak up. Upon deeper reflection, I don't always speak up to matters that really matter to me. I actually hold back quite a bit. And then I've been exploring, well, why do I do that? What's underneath that holding back? And a few things became clear. I don't like to rock the boat. I don't want to come off as creating drama, being unkind, being demanding. And then as I looked at all of that, and there were several other things, as I looked at all of that and I went underneath that, kind of what started to become like at the core of it was a belief that my voice didn't matter, that my needs didn't matter or don't matter. And that made me very sad to realize. I was like, okay, so there's some work here for me. And I'm really grateful that my outer appearance has been creating these experiences for me so that I can go here. Because I want to know the limiting beliefs, stories, narratives that I have bought and sold to myself that are creating in my reality in a way that is not optimal, and it's actually really not what I want. But how else would I know, right? And so when we're caught up in the moment, though, we don't always think this way. It's very human. And so what are the consequences of us not speaking our truth? And what I'm about to share comes from my direct experience. It doesn't come from learning this from anyone else. It doesn't come from reading it from a book. It's direct. Life has taught me, and I'm grateful for what I have learned so that then I can choose me, honor myself, respect myself, which are all are acts of self-love, and go on and do better in the future. So in the Holy Book, it says, you shall know the truth, and they should have added, you shall know the truth and speak the truth. And knowing and speaking the truth, your truth, shall set you free. We come to a place in our awakening where the mind-heart connection is very clear. And instead of making choices and listening to the mind all the time, we listen to the heart, and the voice is softer. We have to really get still and begin to listen. And there's so many times being on this human journey that we go against our heart. We go against our inner knowing, our wisdom. And we lead from the mind. And a lot of the time when we do this, we create unwanted experiences. And those unwanted experiences help us to see the contrast of what it is we don't want and how can I do better? And one day I came to the conclusion, I've got to start living from here, not from here. This brings me into places and spaces that I don't really want to be in, because a lot of what's driving the mind is fear, whereas what's driving the heart is love. So as we go on our spiritual journey and we awaken and we ascend and we evolve and we grow, we come to a place where We're so connected to our heart, our inner knowing, our guidance, our truth, that when we are involved in experiences where we don't speak our truth, it starts to feel bad very quickly, very, very quickly. And as this experience is activating something within you where you want to speak, where you have something to say, and maybe you have some resistance to saying it for whatever reason. You know, as children, if we were brought up, children should be seen and not heard. Or when we did speak up, we were invalidated, we were ignored, we maybe were perhaps punished. Then it starts to not feel safe to speak our truth. And that might work when you're little, that, you know, that's the best you can do is just hold it in. But as we become adults, the consequences of that start to become pretty heavy. And so for me, and I remember the year very well, it was like 2016, and I had just met my now divine partner. And what I found, and this was very different for me in relationship, but what I found is if things arose or there were things going on that did not feel good, it was like my soul, my inner essence started to scream louder and louder and louder until I had no other choice. For me to release the pressure, I had to speak my truth. And something really magical happened when I did speak my truth. First of all, that feeling of burden, of heaviness, my stomach was tight, my heart felt heavy, my throat was like all froggy and just felt like tense. My jaw hurt because we're biting our word, you know, we're holding our words back. And when I would speak the truth plainly and simply, all of that lifted. The smoke cleared. The dark cloud left. And actually what I found was that I was opening the door to deeper exploration and for deeper intimacy with my partner. This was like a revelation for me. I'm like, oh my God, like, wow, this is so easy. Like, it's so easy. And that pattern for us has always been and has deepened, and it has brought us closer together. So in that relationship, I get like an A++. Not that I'm grading myself really, but just to give, you know, like I'm doing great. Doing great. Now, has that transferred to all of my other relationships? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And I've just come to really see the truth in that recently. And for me, when I do not speak my truth, the throat gets constricted, the jaw tense, it will go all the way up, and my ears start ringing very loud. It's almost like this inner alarm is going off, like, hey, you got something to say, and you're not saying it. So the ears ring, I can get headachy, which I don't usually get headachy, because my mind is almost like it feels obsessively. It's playing this scenario out over and over and over and over that I'm not speaking my truth about. It plays it over and over and over until I speak my truth. And then immediately, like, it's gone. The loop that my mind was, it's gone. My throat clears. My voice gets more clear. My heart doesn't feel heavy, and that pit in my stomach, oh, you know the pit, right? Like the pit, man, it's like you can't digest anything. You have a tummy ache all the time. Perhaps you feel nauseous. And it's just like 50 shades of uncomfortable until we speak the truth. Until we speak the truth. So I've already covered some of these things, but like, yeah, when we don't speak the truth, physically, how does it affect us? The throat, the jaw, the head, the ears, the heart, the solar plexus for sure. And you might just feel like lethargic, because when we have this energy that wants to move and be expressed, the mouth is the expression point. It's actually a powerful chakra. I don't know why it's not discussed more. But when, we're stuffing all that down, we're not honoring, we're not respecting, we're not letting the energy move, we can feel very tired and be confused as to why. You can even start to feel depressed and hopeless and get like a negative perspective about life and just want to throw your hands in the air and say, F it. I call it the case of the F it's. So these are just some of the things that can happen physically. Mentally, we just can't let it go. Like the mind just keeps bringing up the scenario that you need to speak your truth about, the entanglement you need to speak the truth about, the situation you need to speak the truth about, and the mind will kind of go in this hamster wheel and it feels like it's tormenting you, but simply what's happening is the mind's like, I'm going to bring this so up in your face that you have no choice but to set yourself free through speaking what it is you need to say. Despite any of the stuff, the beliefs that are fueling the resistance to speaking. It's like you're just put into this corner where you have, like, it's your only option, despite your fears. Oh, I don't want to make people upset. I don't want to hurt their feelings. If you speak your truth from a place of love and kindness and just say it simply as is from a neutral place, however someone else reacts is not, you have no control over that. That's up to them. If they want to create a narrative that makes them upset, that's on them. And you're showing up in their life and that experience for them to learn something. So it's all good. It's all good. So we really need to let go of being a victim to other people. And when I say that, we have to let go of feeling that we are responsible for how other people react, how they feel, the negative, the narrative or the story they create. That's all them. We can be free of that now. And sure, it'll arise, but you'll see it for what it is and say, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me. And you might think, wow, that sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, like the only one we have to be responsible to and for is ourselves and the infinite. And a truth that I learned is that if a choice that I make is for my highest and greatest good, it is also for everyone else's highest and greatest good as well, whether they can see it in that moment or not. Because when we live in a universe of divine perfection, it couldn't be any other way. It couldn't be any other way. Okay, emotionally, what are the consequences of not speaking our truth? We can feel resentful, we can feel angry, we can feel overwhelmed, impatient, irritated, all the things. And it's not an optimal place for us to be. And typically when we feel we're not speaking our truth, we start to feel all these, low vibe emotions, which I'm not making any vibe or feeling or emotion bad. It's all a message. These emotions, these feelings are a message. And in this case, the message is speak your truth. Speak your truth. Spiritually, how does this impact us? Well, when we turn away from the clarity and knowing within ourselves and within our hearts, it lowers our vibe. Because it's like a domino effect. The mind's swirling. Physically, we feel off. Mentally and emotionally, we feel off. We are bringing our powerful, magical focus and attention to things that don't feel good because we are not dealing with our side of it, aka speaking the truth. Our chakras can start to become blocked. That always doesn't feel great. And the antidote to all of this is to just say what you need to say in the most loving, neutral way you possibly can. And let go of how they receive it, how they respond to it, how they react to it. Not yours. Not yours. And I had a situation recently, and it had been building up on me and building up. And with the energies that are flooding the planet, where truths are being exposed, I was really riding this roller coaster within myself. And the minute I said what I needed to say, the mind stopped replaying it. My throat felt better, sounded better. The tension in my jaw released. That pit in my stomach, magically gone. Magically gone. Because I'm making 2025 the year of me. And I had to get over that little voice back here that said, well, that's selfish. When I show up for myself, honoring myself, respecting myself and everything, it's good for everybody. So, because I really, at first blush, when I looked at myself, I thought I was someone that really spoke my truth. But there's been a lot of occasions where I'm finding I'm not. And the higher your vibe, like you become like a high-end sports car that needs the best gas, that needs the best oil. You really need to maintain it for the car to run optimally. And we need to honor ourselves for us to run optimally. So, what's been going on where you're not speaking your truth and it's starting to feel bad and you're starting to experience the consequences of not speaking? And, one of I turned right to my fear and said, what would be the worst thing that could happen if I speak my truth? Well, this person might not like me anymore. They might start gossiping about me. They might start sending me negative energy because they're spiteful or jealous or envious, or they just want to make me the villain in their story. And I'm like, you know what? I can live with all that if that's the worst that can happen. So be it. And then I felt even lighter as I turned to that. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I turned to that, looked it in the eye and said, that's fine. Such freedom and liberation. Such freedom and liberation. So I double dog dare you to look at what's going on in your life, to see where you need to respect and love yourself more. Show up for you, advocate for you. Because when we do this, we actually give other people permission. We inspire other people. They're like, wow, look at that. If she can do it, I can do it. So go inspire some people today. Love yourself. Listen to your heart and say what you need to say, because what's the worst that could happen?